Hey guys, my name's Chris. I'm the head of social media at Summon Society, and I'm also a certified personal trainer. What I wanted to do with this video is basically give you guys some exercises that you can do while you're sitting in queues, sort of 3 to 5 minutes in total, that are going to help work on various physical complaints that people have when they play. We're going to start today talking about wrists. A lot of people have sort of indicated that they get a bit of wrist pain using the mouse, obviously sitting on the keyboard as well. These are just some basic exercises that are not going to take you very long, but should hopefully over time start to alleviate those issues. Okay, so starting off with just some basic mobility, you're just going to make a fist pointing up towards the ceiling, and very slowly, one by one, you're just going to extend out each finger, really trying to stretch them out as far as you can until you've got an open fist, and closing them back up again. So for some of you, this may cause a little bit of pain through the back of your hand. That's just an indicator that you have really tight flexors through your fingers. It's going to be more common on the keyboard hand than it is on the mouse hand. Just go through about half a dozen of those each way, and that should sort of help loosen them up a little bit. After that, we can do the same thing, but with the wrist facing downwards. So bring that arm up, fingers facing down, and you're going to go the opposite way this time. So if you did your thumb first on the fingers facing up, you're going to go with your pinky first on this one. So extend out that pinky. You'll find that you get to sort of your ring finger, middle finger. Your hand physically can't actually extend it until you do that. Perfectly normal, don't stress about it. Again, working through about half a dozen of these. All right, the next one is just a very basic wrist stretch. You're going to bring that elbow, tuck it into your side, grab a hold of your fingers and just pull them back towards your body. Now, you don't have to pull very hard to get a good stretch out of this one. You'll feel it pretty quickly through your flexor carpi, basically the muscle that sits right at the base of your wrist and lets your wrist do this. Just grab it, pull it back. You're going to hold that for about 30 seconds. Easy to do in queue time. You've got a timer sitting right in front of you. And then the same thing in reverse, but very gently, you're just going to grab hold of your hand, push it back towards you. Now, please don't overdo this one. It's a really good way to injure yourself, but you do need to have that flexion there in order to feel a little bit better. And for the third basic one, you're going to keep that elbow in the same position, tucked into your side. Just going to make a fist and rotate that wrist back and forward, working through those wrist flexors. Do this for about 15 to 20 repetitions. All right, for this next bit, you'll need some kind of weight. Now that can be an actual dumbbell if you've got one. If you do have one, no more than 5 kilos, you don't need to load up your wrist. This is a 3, a 2 kilo or 1 kilo would work just as well. If you don't have a dumbbell at all, you can use a water bottle, just fill it up with water, fill it up with sand is preferable. Just something you can grab hold of in your hand and sort of manipulate a little bit. So we're going to start off with this one. You're going to have your elbows resting on your thigh, or if you've got a chair with an arm on it, and just rest it on the side of that. You're just going to have your wrist hanging off the edge of it and making a fist. You're just going to rotate that side to side as far as you're comfortable going for about 15 to 20 repetitions. Following that one, if your cue hasn't already popped, you're going to have your wrist facing, your knuckles facing towards the ceiling, that's what I'm looking for, and you're just going to let that wrist drop to its limp, and from there you're just going to slowly straighten it back out to extension. Now again, make sure your elbow's propped up on something and your wrist just hanging loosely off the edge. You want to keep that upper arm nice and straight, let your wrist and your forearm do all the work on this one, just extending that 10 to 15 reps. Following that, you can do the same thing but facing upwards. So again, bracing that forearm, or bracing that elbow on your leg, just letting your wrist fall downwards, coming up to straight. So this is basically a wrist curl. You can roll it down towards your fingertips if you need the extra stretch, and bring it back up and make a fist. And finally, you're just going to work through a little bit of wrist rotation. So again, you can use a weight for this, just grabbing hold of it and just making circles with your wrist. If you don't have a weight, that's fine. You don't need one for this one. Just making a fist, and you're just working through some wrist circles. Go through about 15 to 20, go back in the other direction. So that's just some basic tips on how you can build a little bit of wrist strength, a little bit of wrist flexibility and mobility, a bit of forearm strength as well. Please be aware that this is not going to fix it overnight. This is something that's going to take a few weeks to feel better. If you do this 2 or 3 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day, obviously it's going to work better the more you do it. If it starts to hurt, stop doing it. Very important. But the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. If you're queuing for 10 to 15 games a day, do it every 2 or 3 games. If you're going to come on and play 3 or 4 games, just do it in each queue. So good luck, guys. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. Otherwise, if you have any specific questions, you know how to get hold of me. All the best on the Rift.